Wanting to learn web development but don't know where to start? Learning a new skill can be quite daunting. Lucky for you, I've put together this roadmap for you to follow if you wanted to get into web development in 2022. I'm doing something a little bit different in this roadmap, where I'm not only going to show you a roadmap, I'm also going to direct you to some courses that I think will help with every step along the way. I'll be showing you both a free path to take if you don't want to spend any money, which is perfectly fine. I'll also be showing you a paid path to take. This does come with a caveat. I am trying to vary the teachers that I use rather than just recommending freecodecamp.org, because you could go and learn everything you wanted from freecodecamp.org. But I wanted to show you that there is more options out there for you, and freecodecamp.org, you might not like the way they teach. Please do stick around until the end of the video, where I'll be giving you some bonus steps that you can take if you really want to maximize on your web development. And I'll also put a link to the full roadmap image in the description. Hey, did you want to know a secret? Shh. Don't tell anyone else, okay? This is just between you and me. You promise? Okay, great. Did you know that if you hit that subscribe button, you'll get infused with superpowers? It's true. Trust me, I did it. Hit the button. Find out. Don't tell anyone. Shh. Step number 1 is to learn how the internet works. This includes things like what the internet is composed of, how computers talk to each other, a little bit about data, the main features of the internet, HTTP versus HTTPS, things like that. There is a really great free course on YouTube titled How Does the Internet Work? It is by freecodecamp.org. There is a great paid course on Udemy called How the Internet Works and the Web Development Process, and that is by UXL Training. Step 2, once you know how the internet works, step 2 is to learn HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS are standard across web development. Everyone needs to know them. HTML is the building block of your website. It's the markup. It is what puts the structure to your web page. CSS is a styling language. It is needed to organize content on web pages and to make it look more attractive. There is a great free course on YouTube called HTML and CSS Tutorial for 2021, Complete Crash Course by Design Course. And for the paid route, there is a good course on Udemy called Design and Develop a Killer Website with HTML5 and CSS. Build responsive real-world websites by Jonas Schmedman. Step number 3, once you know HTML and CSS, I would recommend learning JavaScript. JavaScript adds functionality to websites, and you're going to want to pay particular attention to DOM manipulation. For the free route, there is a really good JavaScript course called JavaScript Crash Course for Beginners by Traversy Media. And then for the paid route, there is a great Udemy course called Modern JavaScript from the Beginning by the same team, by Brad Traversy. Step number 4. Once you know JavaScript, I would next recommend learning a little bit about version control. Version control is a system or a practice of managing changes to software code, keeping things consistent across many versions. It gives you the ability to have multiple people making changes to code at the same time without it affecting the overall project. For the free course, I do recommend a course called Git and GitHub for Beginners Crash Course on Udemy. That is by freecodecamp.org. And for the paid route, I do recommend Git and GitHub Masterclass by Tim Buchalka's Learn Programming Academy and also Eduardo Rosas. Once you know version control, the next thing that you should tackle is all about basic website deployment and web hosting. So you're going to want to learn about domain names, email hosting, SSL certificates, all of that kind of stuff. There is a really good free course on YouTube called How to Put a Website Online, Template Coding, Domain Hosting and DNS by freecodecamp.org. And if you do want to take the paid route, I do recommend a course called Web Hosting Introduction, How to Publish Your Website Online by Adrian Gonzalez. Now at this point, once you've covered these 5 steps, you're going to have a very good understanding of what it is to be a front-end web developer. This, of course, is a very basic level. You will need to learn a lot more about these things, like I would recommend maybe learning a JavaScript framework, but you will be at the basic level that you need to become a front-end web developer. So the steps moving forward are going to be things that you'll need to learn if you want to get into back-end web development. So the first thing that I think you should learn and understand if you want to become a back-end web developer is learn about APIs. Now, an API is an application programming interface. And think of an API like a menu in a restaurant, okay? The menu provides you with a list of things that are available that you can order. It gives you descriptions of each dish, and then you tell the waiter what it is that you want to order, and then it gets prepared and brought out to you. But you don't know how the food is prepared. That's what an API is. An API shows a bunch of operations that can be done with a description of what each of them do. And then the developer chooses an operation and that operation is performed. That in a nutshell is what an application programming interface is. There is a great free course on YouTube called APIs for Beginners, How to Use an API, full course tutorial by freecodecamp.org. And then for the paid route, there is a good course on Udemy called API and Web Service Introduction by Nate Ross. So the next step, once you have learned about APIs, is to learn about databases. Learn about the different kinds of databases like a relational database. And you'll also need to have a look at the different database languages like MySQL, for example, or SQL. And you'll need to pick one of them that best fits with the next step. But for a broader understanding of databases, a great free course on YouTube is Database Tutorial for Beginners by Lucid Chart. And then a paid course. I really can't give you a paid course because you really need to pick a database language that you want to learn, and then you need to search for those on Udemy. Once you've studied a little bit about databases, the next step to become a back-end web developer would be to learn a back-end programming language. So you are going to want to take a look at languages like Python or Ruby or PHP. And this is the language that's going to be able to help you to bridge the gap between the database and the front end. If you want to take the free route, I do recommend you look at a YouTube video called Which Programming Language to Learn in 2022 by Coding for Real. And if you want to go the paid route, again, you really need to pick a language. So do some research on the different languages and then go to Udemy and search for which language that you want, whether it's Python, PHP, Ruby. So the next and last step that you're going to want to learn once you've learned all of this is you're going to want to have a look at web servers and understand what a web server is, how to set up a web server, and how they work and what they're used for. The free route, there is a really good course called Web Server Concepts and Examples by Web Concepts. And if you did want to take the paid route, again, you really need to pick a server stack or a technology stack. For example, WAMP or AMP or LAMP or XAMP. Pick a server stack and then search for that on Udemy. Now, as promised, I'm going to give you 3 bonus steps that I think will be very beneficial to you getting into web development this year. The first one of that is how to deploy an app to production. The free route, I would recommend App Development, Process Overview from Start to Finish by Angela Yu. The paid route, it depends on your choice of deployment technology. Watch the free one first and understand what the process is and what the different deployment technologies available are, and then choose one and then search for that on Udemy. The second bonus thing that I think is beneficial for you to learn this year is WordPress. And this is only if you want to become a freelance developer. Not many big companies use WordPress. So if you do want to go down the freelance developer route, I recommend learning about WordPress. The free course that I would recommend is called Become a WordPress Developer, Unlocking Power with Code by Learn Web Code. And the paid one that I would recommend is WordPress Development with Bootstrap, the complete course by Brad Hussey. And the third bonus thing that I think is beneficial for you to learn if you want to become a web developer, and this, it's not really part of web development. It'll give you a better understanding of the entire process, and it'll make you more accessible to employers by knowing this, and that is DevOps. Now, with DevOps, you really only need to know the basics like continuous deployment, continuous integration, things like that. But I do think it is beneficial to at least understand what DevOps are and how they work in unison with what it is that you're going to be doing with web dev. For the free course, I'd recommend DevOps Tutorial for Beginners full course by Edureka. And for the paid route, I would recommend the DevOps Essentials, the handbook by Anand Rao Nedner. So there it is. That's my roadmap to becoming a web developer in 2022. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you haven't done so yet, please do like and subscribe. And it helps me to reach and teach more people and help them along in their journey. One more thing I did want to mention is that if you want to become a full stack web developer, just learn everything. Learn everything that I said. Front end, back end, you'll need to know it all if you wanted to become a full stack web developer. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video right to the end, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace and love.